Hello. I am jumping on today. So far nobody's watching. That's cool because this will be recorded and I'll leave it on the page. So I haven't done a Facebook Live for a while, mostly because I haven't been getting a ton of questions. And which I don't love to answer questions via email because it's pretty inefficient. So I haven't been getting a ton of questions, and then last week, I think it was last week, or at the end of the prior week, I was working on updating the homeschool ebook, the thing that started it all. I wrote a guide back in 2013 called Homeschooling in Pennsylvania, How to Comply with the Law in 8 Easy Steps. The reason I wrote that little guide was because in my research, in trying to research the homeschool law, hi Dawn, I found myself clicking around. Like, you'd read this part of a website and then it would have a link to another part of the law and you'd click over there, and it was really hard just to get a step-by-step progression. And there was one homeschool guide out there at the time that was basically a paper version, and I don't even know if it's still in publication. It was like a pamphlet that was available when you could order it like the old school way. You could just send $4 in the mail and they would send you the guide, and it was paper, but it was kind of filled with things that in my view are not required by the law. So I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, so I wrote that ebook in 2013 to give more of a step-by-step progression. Do this first, do this next, And then since all the information, and then a little bit of commentary, basically how I approach it, the homeschool law, and interpret it, and I try not to over-comply, or that's my goal. And then, since all the information in there is free because it's based on the statute, I thought, well, I can just republish these on a website, because I kind of wanted to learn how to start a website, just the logistics of that and the mechanics of that and the tech of that. So I thought, I'm going to start a website just so all the same information is available for free. I mean, the ebook's like $5, so it's not that expensive. But anyway, so last week I was updating that ebook. I haven't done that since I took it down when they changed the compulsory education age, because I didn't want to change it twice. So when that law went into effect, it wasn't going to take effect until the 2020-2021 school year. And I didn't want to have to change it twice. Same thing with the website. I kind of left it there, left the references to the compulsory age being between 8 and 17, and then I changed it earlier, I guess a couple of months ago. I went through and changed as many as I could. I think I caught all of them. If you come across an article on my website that refers to the compulsory attendance age being 8 to 13, send me an email if you don't mind. I think I caught them all, but I may have missed a few. So anyway, the point being, I revised the ebook to update it, I believe, and it's available on my website. I haven't done the Kindle version yet and put it on Amazon, because I have to review I just want to make sure their publishing standards are similar to what I remember, and I kind of have to re-educate myself about those and the process. It's not hugely different, or it's not a major barrier, but I just want to make sure I'm compliant with like links that I have and that sort of thing. So that will be coming. But if you buy the PDF version and you own a Kindle, you can actually email yourself. If you don't want to read it on your computer, you can email yourself the PDF. Your Kindle has an email address associated with itself, and you can find that on your Amazon account. So you can just, and then it'll be in the form that I published it in. But somebody brought to my attention that my health services chart is not accurate. So I don't think I can share my screen here. Anyway, if you have read the article about the health services on my website, I have a chart at the bottom, like a handy chart. And they pointed out that the Homeschool Legal Defense Association guidance on the tuberculosis test was different than my chart in the article. And I was like, well, I haven't looked at that for a couple of years, so let me check it out. And they were right. So under Pennsylvania law, the public school code, a tuberculin test is required at when the child enters school, and then again in ninth grade. And I have to review this because I have it asterisked on my chart that you have to check with your local school district whether a tuberculin test is required. I'm guessing that is buried in the regulations somewhere. I'm certain I wouldn't have put it in there if that wasn't the case, but I don't remember where that is. And the other thing, so if I can find it, I will. I'll make sure that's up to date. And I am going to revise the ebook. If you bought a copy of it, you could probably click the link again, and you should be able to re-download the updated version. But here's the thing. This is what I'm so confused about this issue, is that all of my kids spent time in public school, cyber, and the local school district. Some of them after ninth grade, some of them for ninth grade, and none of them has ever had a tuberculin test. So I'm confused. I don't know if it's a district by district thing. I don't know if Allegheny County does not require it. I'm in Allegheny County. I don't know, because it's a public school code law. It's a state law, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I'm going to try my best to update that chart. I can update the chart, but I want to check maybe that has since changed since 2013, that districts required it or not. I'll check it out. So my point is, I'll let you know when I update the book, and if you bought the ebook through my website, you should be able to re-download the updated version of it. The link should take you to the same, the link that you got in the email after you purchased it should allow you to download the updated version. Let's see. Okay, somebody asks, and I don't know if you can see each other's comments. Some people have their settings set to private so that if they participate on a page, they're private. Anyway, I'll read you the question. It says, do you know anything about out-of-state online private schools and how I need to proceed with the state? I'm so confused. I think, yes, I do. A little bit. I actually made a video about this last week or 2 weeks ago. Right. Okay, so if you are enrolling an out-of-state or even in-state online school provider, no, let me clarify. If you do a Pennsylvania charter school, that's considered a public school in Pennsylvania. But say it sounds like you are interested in an out-of-state private online school. What you do is you file as the supervisor of a home education program. So you file an affidavit, your proposed objectives by subject matter, and a list of immunizations if you don't maintain a ethical or moral objection, or if you have a health exemption. So yeah, you file as the supervisor of a home education program. How you carry out the requirements is completely up to you. So that online school has nothing to do with the state of Pennsylvania. Nothing. They're not regulated by PA state law. It's just you choose. It's like, consider that your sort of like buffet of subjects. So you can meet the requirements any way you want. It's separate from, but you're the supervisor of the home education program, you file the affidavit, etc., etc. And the follow-up, the out-of-state school does not file anything with PA, correct? Central Dauphin told me I didn't need to do anything, but apparently I do, yes. Look. Even if they're accredited, good for them. Pennsylvania does not regulate out-of-state entities at all. It does not qualify as a private or public school. Now, let's say if your child was like a boarder somewhere and went out of state and went there, then that would be a different situation. But the lesson here is school administrators rarely know the details of Pennsylvania homeschool law. They're the worst source of information. No offense to them, it's just not a high priority. You're almost always going to get wrong information when you ask a secretary or a pupil services coordinator, school psychologist. They just don't know the Pennsylvania homeschool law. They don't know the difference between a private tutor, a homeschool under the private tutor option, and the parents who have to file an affidavit. It is the worst source of information. So hopefully I cleared up your question. And if I didn't, ask again and I will clear that up. Yeah, and I want to talk about that. I did another video last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago. A parent in my district got a letter. What happened is she attempted to submit her affidavit and objectives in person. The way it's set up in my district, we have 2 elementary schools in my district, and for elementary students, the district or the building principals are in charge of keeping the files of the homeschoolers in elementary school. So the respective building principals, and she decided to walk hers to the building rather than submit it via certified mail, return receipt requested, which I always advocate. When she submitted her affidavit, the secretary actually refused to take it because she said, oh, no, you have to fill out all this other information, this packet, and then we'll accept it, which is completely inappropriate. It's completely inaccurate. And the packet had a lot of other information, like they had a demographic sheet. They requested certification, teacher certifications, which isn't required. A diploma, you don't even have to produce a copy of your diploma. You just are you have to attest on the affidavit that you have, or the supervisor has earned a high school diploma or its equivalent. So anyway, I addressed in the video a couple weeks ago some of the things that were inaccurate. And there is, who knows the motivation. My theory, when administrators don't know, or they ask for things that aren't required, or say you have to do this when you don't, this or that, I don't think they intend to intimidate you. They might have, a negative opinion about homeschooling and think that parents can't do it. That may be true. My theory is that it just isn't a high priority law. Hold on. Hello? I'm on a Facebook Live. Sorry, it's my son. What? Oh, thank you. It's my senior. Well, he graduated. Sorry. Anyway, my theory is that, first of all, it's not a high priority. It's not like a statute that a school district is going to get penalized or fined or cited for or sued for getting wrong. So there's not a whole lot of incentive for them to get it right. They do rely on their solicitors a lot for legal matters, and I don't even think solicitors who are very familiar with the public school code really pay that much attention to the homeschool law. So based on the policies that I've seen on school district websites. So it's not a high priority. And my other impression is that a lot of times districts just assign somebody different or new personnel when they're hired. They're like, oh, you're in charge of the homeschoolers, or you have to keep their paperwork, you have to make sure it's all in order. And they're just inheriting the forms from previous years. It's an afterthought. Let alone, like secretaries, they don't have any incentive to get it right. They're not accountable. So I just think they're so used to enrolling and registering kids, and they know those requirements. So they ask for, and they're supposed to ask for, proofs of residency, certain information, certain demographic information, and they just think it applies to homeschoolers, and it doesn't. So their misinformation is that's my theory about why they don't know what the homeschool law requires, let alone the differences between private tutor. If you're going to homeschool your kids and you're a PA certified teacher, you can proceed under the private tutor option, which waives testing requirements in 3rd, 5th, and 8th. There's no evaluation at the end of the year. You have to meet the requirements, the same hours and subject requirements, but nobody's reviewing that. So anyway, take advantage of that if you're a PA certified teacher. So hopefully I answered your question, Jennifer. So things have been quiet, sort of. I haven't been getting too many questions, which is great. I'm hoping that people are taking advantage of the other resources. People are so much more active on the Pennsylvania Homeschool Support Group on Facebook, and then the Pennsylvania Home Educators Association now has a private group that they'll answer all your questions, and that is the administrators there, I believe, are active and very knowledgeable homeschool parents, so they know the law in and out too, so they can help you with anything you need. Jennifer, you're asking if you can choose option 4 of a satellite of an accredited school. I don't even know what the options are. You can choose any option you want. That's between you and the school. You can proceed however you want. Yes. Okay. Another question is, coming from Maryland to PA, do I need to enroll my children first and then send my affidavit, or just send the affidavit? Just send the affidavit. There's no enrollment process or registration process. Your affidavit is just really your notification to the local public school that you're going to educate your children at home. So no, you don't enroll it. Now, it's getting really common. I've seen a lot of parents complaining that when they send in their affidavit, schools are asking for, homeschool registration, fill in this form. That's not required. You file the affidavit with the objectives and list of immunizations, and you're good to go. There's no approval process. In fact, the regulations specifically preclude any approval. As long as you meet those requirements, your home education program is good to go. You're welcome. So, anyway, I'm going to work on updating the health services article on the website and in the book, and I will leave a notification here. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is that since a lot of people aren't on Facebook, what I've been doing is after these are done, it creates a recording. So I have been uploading it to YouTube. There's a conversion process, so it takes a few minutes. I don't know. And that's to make it available to people who aren't on Facebook. So feel free to share those links. What I do is after the Facebook Live, then I upload it to YouTube, fill out a description. Then I'll drop the link again on my Facebook page for anybody to share that link. I think you should just copy and paste it and then share it with people outside of Facebook. So it's not the most efficient, but I do want this to be widely cast. So, but what I was going to say is Facebook is not the best at notifying. Even if you follow the page, they only push out notifications to a percentage of the page followers. And whatever, that's their model, that's cool. So if you want to be sure to be notified, I would follow this page. But again, they only push it out to, I think, 25% of even the followers. But for sure, you should subscribe and then click, if you want to be notified, click the notification button on YouTube. Just click it on one of the videos that are already on the PA Homeschool Law YouTube channel, just to make sure you don't miss anything. I don't really answer comments that much on YouTube. I just found a couple that were a couple of years old. So that's just so you don't miss anything. And then anytime, I don't allow posts on my page because I don't want to gum it up with other people's comments or questions, because it pushes everything down. I don't love Facebook's interface. But if you have a topic that you're interested in, if you want a quick video on it or a quick answer to a question, something that's swirling around in your brain or coming up against, feel free to comment on one of these. I think I'll get it. You can email me too, Beth@PAHomeschoolLaw.com. I'm not going to, I try not to answer individual questions because it would be endless, and I have other things going on, especially now. But I'm trying to help as much as I can and make things quick for you. Okay. Over comply with. Okay, so somebody bought the Private Tutoring book and over and comply with an unknowing request for objectives. Oh yeah, so if you're filing as a private tutor because you're a PA certified teacher, and you have to be PA certified, you don't file an affidavit or a list of objectives. You don't need that. It has its own requirements. So let me read. For the benefit of everybody else, I'll read the question. I just purchased your book for private tutoring. Thank you for your purchase. I'm trying to make sure that I don't overcomply with an unknowing request for objectives and affidavit, etc. for regular homeschooling, while my intent is to private tutor my niece. But am nervous that if I don't provide the information they request this year, that can make it so that a school district will not accept her for first grade next year if her parents decide to enroll her in public school then. Is that something that can even happen? Okay, there's a lot here, Taylor. Number one, if you're already private tutoring your own children, you can't be a private tutor for the children of another family. Number two, it sounds like your niece hasn't reached compulsory attendance age. If she's in kindergarten and turns 6 after September 1st, she's not subject to the compulsory attendance law. So, two things. And then the question about whether, say if you do it wrong, if you do it, say you don't do it right, and your sister or her mother wants to send her to first grade. Most schools are going to want to keep kids similar aged in the same class. In other words, if you get like a mid to late 6-year-old, they're going to prefer that she's in first grade. Most times, I can't think of any time that they're not going to take the parents' word for where she is emotionally, academically, physically. So I wouldn't worry about that, but I would check if your niece turns 6 after September 1st, her mother doesn't have to file anything. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. So just to be clear, if you are tutoring your own children, you cannot be the official, like on the district's books or files for the children of another family. You can only be the registered private tutor for the children of a single family. Now, let's say you were private tutoring your own children and you file as their private tutor, and you also wanted to instruct your niece and she was above the compulsory attendance age. Her parents would just file as supervisors of the home education program. So all that means is that the supervisor is taking legal responsibility that the instructional requirements are met. And they're taking legal responsibility that a portfolio and legal requirements are met. Okay, so you can, but they can defer all the teaching to you, all the instruction to somebody else. It doesn't even have to be a private tutor. It can be anybody. It's the supervisor of a home education program has wide discretion to outsource any part of the home education program that they want. Hopefully that's clear. Okay, so you would only be tutoring her, and like I said, as long as, well, like I said, check to make sure If she's not 6 before September 1st, her parents don't have to file anything. You don't have to file anything. So, yeah. Hopefully that helps. And I know this stuff is not easy, and it's easy to confuse. I got a question from somebody who is moving to Pennsylvania from Colorado, and she's a certified teacher in Colorado. So her question was, she said, I understand from the private tutoring provision that I can only tutor the children of a single family. So hold on with me. Then she said she was interested in creating, like taking kids from her daughter's class, either instructing them, let's say just like one day a week, whether it's on Zoom or outdoors, and doing like an enrichment day as in some sort of instruction. I don't know how many she meant. So, picture I got first, she said, can I private tutor them? Okay, so the first thing is, if she were filing as a homeschooler, she couldn't file as a private tutor because her teaching certificate is from a different state. But that's not what she wanted to do. Her kid and her child and her classmates are enrolled in public school. So the private tutor option doesn't apply to them at all. They can enrich, their parents can choose to enrich their studies any way they want. It's like no different than setting up a play date somewhere or anything. So I just wanted to make that distinction. All right. But I can see where that gets confusing. Oh, yeah, they should be fine. Taylor says that she just was checking because her niece is doing kindergarten this year and her parents want her to do first grade next year. I don't think that'll be a problem at all. No matter what you do or who's doing what, I think they'll be happy to have her as a first grade when, assuming she's about the same age as her classmates. Yeah. I think she'll be fine. All right, so just to sign off, I have been thinking about some issues or just some questions that I had as a beginning homeschooler. Hopefully all the formal filing things are getting a little more clear for people. Especially, I do feel bad for parents who just had no intention of homeschooling, but they know that whatever plans the schools are going to come up with are likely to change. That uncertainty is very stressful. So I've been just thinking about, what resources we used, the books that were our favorites, what we did when the kids were different ages, just young elementary versus middle elementary. So it's just kind of been swirling in my brain whether one of these would be helpful on just maybe as a series. What our homeschool days looked like. And just try to shift your mindset a little bit, pivot your mindset away from the box that is sort of institutional learning, because I think it can be so much more rich than that. And I don't want you to feel burdened by this weight of, oh my gosh, I have to keep my kid on this certain progression. Because I can tell you, when even my high schoolers and middle schoolers, when they were in public school, it was amazing. If they got sick for a week, they didn't miss anything. So I just think you'll all be fine, and you can adapt your idea of education at home to fit your family. You can create a schedule that fits your family's pace. Even if you have to work from home, you can anchor your days around that, and just be way more relaxed about it. But also, they can learn a lot. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking about as of recent. And so I might do a few of these in the next week. This weekend is pretty busy for me, but things open up a little bit on the home front next week, and I might just try a couple of those just to see if they're helpful, and if not, no big deal. Yeah, talking about some of the resources, like our favorite audiobooks, just curriculum that we relied on, especially like the younger elementary ages. Yeah, it's actually been a nice exercise because I forgot how much good stuff we checked out. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful, and yeah, just I would say either follow this page, and or go over to YouTube and hit subscribe and notifications if you want notifications when I do other videos. All right, I hope you're doing well. Hope your school districts are not bullying you or sending you in wrong directions. So anyway, okay. Ciao, everybody.